return to Oklahoma, Edmond, near Oklahoma City. Today, live, both regular and tour players, senior stars, are here for the $250,000 Choice Hotels Classic and Challenge. It's going to be an exciting afternoon, and I'm Chris Schenkel, delighted to invite you on behalf of Bo Burton and myself. Now, as to the format, at 8:30 this morning, 4 senior players and 3 tour players met head-to-head. In the very first match, a North Hollywood senior really started to roll. In the first match, Ron Winger went against John Hersenna. John Hersenna, a former player of the year from Franklin, Pennsylvania. This is Winger. He goes on to shoot a 214 to John Hersenna's 196. So, with that victory, Ron Winger moves up and against another player of the year, John Handegard. In this match, Winger was sensational. Finishes the match with 7 in a row, 266 to 216. Now in match 3, he had 8 strikes in a row, leaving the 10 pin, but still defeats Gene Stuss of Allen Park, Michigan, another player of the year, 269 to 234. Now, there's a summary of our seniors. You will see Winger in just a few moments here in Edmond, Oklahoma. Here is a 23-year-old amateur from Wichita State and the city of Wichita, Chris Barnes. In the first match, he goes against Zanesville, Ohio's Ted Hannas. He rules with a 216 to Ted Hannas' 194. These were the number 5 and 4 ranked players. Norm Duke, then. Oh, what a veteran. Here is his first strike. Now, you will see the fastest 10 strikes you have ever watched. Making a total of 11. You guessed it. This is the 12th shot. And it's a 300 game for Norm Duke, defeating Barnes 300 to 190. So, there you have it. Barnes winning, Duke winning. Duke will be in the telecast. But in our first match, it's going to be Gary Dickinson of Edmond, Oklahoma, meeting the survivor of this morning's play, Ron Winger of North Hollywood, California. And the winner will go to the Choice Challenge. Then in second match, we feature our regular touring pros, Norm Duke of Edmond, goes against Mark Williams of Beaumont, Texas. Now, the winner of that match will meet our tournament leader, the player of the year, Walter Ray Williams, Jr. of Stockton, California. And our tournament winner, finally then, will meet the senior challenge champion to that point for $25,000 extra dollars. Oh, Nelson Burton, Jr., over $3,000 this week. He finished 9th. Isn't that neat? Let's give him a hand. Nice going, Bo.
Thank you. Well, we've had a lot of action so far all week long. 7 days, and a lot, as Chris has already told you, has happened so far. It's actually 2 tournaments in 1. And people say, well, do the seniors have any chance against the touring players? The seniors will surprise you. It's amazingly how good they bowl right now. The senior players have somewhat of an advantage, I believe, because they're playing the outside line. It's a line they're familiar with, very precision games. However, the touring players who want to win this tournament, they have the power ball and they can scatter the pins. We've had some terrific scores so far, and I expect a lot of that today, and some terrific prize money at stake. $38,000 on top. You can see Barnes and Hannas have already gotten their money. Remember, that final match, the rubber match in the senior challenge, is $25,000, and we're ready for the first match. Ron Winger against Gary Dickinson. Handshake, we're ready to go.
Okay, and it's 52-year-old Ron Winger that'll be shooting first. He's a 6-footer, 190. He has 2 senior titles, going against Gary Dickinson, beating 3 players of the year this morning. A 10.
Actually, the shot that he left after 8 in a row in the off-camera match. Look at Ron Winger. That's today. Earlier today, as Chris Schenkel has told you, we had a red-hot 2-260 games in the early going. Starts with a solid 10. Changes balls cross lane.
Oh, the former grip on the Hollywood sets. Ron Winger. Blew it. Wow.
Dickinson, the hometown favorite.
Senior player of the year. Point leader. didn't come up to jump on it, Bo.
Well, Chris, I wondered whether there was an advantage to Dickinson being the point leader and having to only bowl one game. And obviously, he still has to get his TV legs. Here he is, the disposition here. He drives straight on through. Dickinson, almost a perfect arm swing, slides by and leaves a 1, 2, 4, 10. Tough shot.
So, our seniors, Nelson, with a pair of open frames. The count is 9-8.
Setting up the championship here, I bowled about 4 games on this pair during the 7 days, Chris. The left-hand lane, 27, kind of hangs. You'll have the light hit more often on that lane. 28 finishes very well, so it's surprising that Gary slid by on the right-hand lanes. Has to be just a little bit apprehensive second frame.
And coming up high, crossing over almost, leaving the 310 for the man that's in his 49th television appearance.
Needs to get the ball to the right of the 3-pin, let the ball deflect into the 10.
Nope, so back-to-back open frames for the Senior Player of the Year. Earned that 2 victories, 2 seconds, 2 thirds, and a 4th.
Ron Winger, actually a man out of his time. He was a power player back when he needed to be a stroker, and he still has that kind of role. Remember, he did a Choice Hotel tip, and he drives straight through in this area. Has the good wrist action like he used to have. Not quite the knee bend that we saw 20 years ago, but still throws a very effective strike ball. He gets the first mark of the match, leads by 12, can make it 22 with a strike in the 3rd.
Oh, goodness.
Chris, this is the type of lane condition we saw Friday morning, yesterday morning. When the players came out, there was a dry area to the right, outside of like the 1st or 2nd board. What he has to do here is just trying to get the ball over in this area and hopefully bounce the 4 out into the 6. Going for it, but a tough shot.
Okay, 2 out of 3 open frames, and for Gary Dickinson getting up now. He had back-to-back. It's the time he would most like to recover. He's on the right lane, all 6
Dickinson
before.
Chris Dickinson trying to play an extreme outside line. The danger, if you miss to the right, the ball hook high.
That goes by, the 2-5.
When we get that shot again, I'll show you exactly what the problem is. When you get the ball outside around the 1st or 2nd board, it snaps. You can almost see a dry area out there by the right-hand channel. If you get it into the 4th or 5th board, it slides by. It's kind of an overreaction. A very sensitive dry area and a very wet area.
Well, you know, today, Gary Dickinson, at whom you're looking, is bowling in his home house and in his hometown. Sounds like he would have a definite edge.
No, not a big advantage. I think I have an advantage just because it is my home house. I've lived here for the last 6 years and bowl here nearly every day when I'm in town. And I got my mother here and my brother and his wife and their daughters. And it's, you know, I have a big crowd support here. So I think I have an advantage there.
And there is Gary Dickinson's first strike. We're at Boulevard Bowl in Edmond, Oklahoma. You know, Native Americans are a significant part of the rich history of Oklahoma. Hence, here in a very prominent position in front of the Capitol building in Oklahoma City is a wonderful sculpture by Alan Hauser, a native of the state. Okay, we're back again at Edmond Bowl. We have an even match, a most unusual match between a pair of seniors, Ron Winger and Gary Dickinson. This is Winger. So for Ron Winger, North Hollywood, that's his 2nd strike. Earlier, Ron addressed the difference in pressures he feels when bowling against a senior bowler and against a regular touring pro.
Well, bowling Gary, I've bowled him before on TV, and we've had some good matches, and on the senior tour. He's the best out there right now. He was #1, but I feel like I got a good shot against him. I really don't feel the pressure. And as far as the young guys, I think the pressure's on them, because if I happen to win and then I beat them, it'll be a little fun. So I think I got a good shot.
Okay, leaving the 10 pin, and that's been proven here in the choice challenge in the past, Nelson.
You're right, Chris. It's a 50-50. And actually what's happening is the players, if they get in the real dry area out here by the gutter, it hooks high. But right around here is an oil area. It's called an over-under. And Chris, that can be very hard to handle. The solution is not as simple. It's as simple, but it's hard to figure out. What you really need to do for a player like Dickinson is to actually move left, throw it in the oiler or more oilier part of the lane, and let the ball slide back in the pocket. It's the only way you can control it. And that's just what he tried to do, as his mom looks on, kind of disappointed with the 2-7 split.
Look at that. Fayrene Dickinson from Durant, Oklahoma, up by the Texas, or down by the Texas border.
Down in the Red River area.
Mm-hmm.
Mom says, got to make this, Gary, to stay even in the match.
Fayrene, 5 children, 1 deceased.
Here's what Dickinson needs to do is actually throw the ball up into this area. He's trying to go down along in this area like this, and he gets caught in between in this area like that. Most of the time that won't work, but on this particular pair, that's the solution. And he did it right there.
Right. Oh, to find that key, to find that line. And Gary looked back at his mom with that shot. Why not? Winger now, spare working. 6th frame. Okay. This is head-to-head. The winner will go to meet the Choice Hotels tournament champion in a $25,000 winner-take-all match.
Look at those games that Ron Bolden getting here. 214, 260, 260, 249 average. He'd like to have some of that right now. Both players tied through 6 frames, strike working 7th frame.
All but the 2 for Ron Winger.
Didn't hit it.
Didn't hit it. He means his fingers did not get underneath the ball. You see him lose it at the bottom of the swing. Winger, more of a power player than Dickinson. Depends on that good strong lift. The ball slides off his thumb and fingers. Ends up with a 2-pin, but he'd love to have a double.
Okay. Edmond, Oklahoma, Choice Hotels Classics and Challenge. These world champion Arabian horses are raised at one of the many farms here in Edmond. This farm specializing in basic horsemanship and English discipline. An even match here at Boulevard Bowl in a seniors battle in this unique format. The seniors player of the year against the man who won 3 matches this morning. This is Gary Dickinson, his opponent Ron Winger.
This strike to take the lead.
258, Bo.
Chris, bowling is an environment where you really have to feel your way. Golf is a great game, but you can see what you have to do, and it's very difficult to read these lanes the way they are right now. As you see Dickinson's ball coming in light, leading the 258, a very, very tough spare. He needs to make this spare to stay tied after 7 frames.
Lots of pressure here, and the man that accepted pressure as well as anybody, a great champion, Marshall Holman, with a couple of guests.
Well, thank you very much, Chris. We have Norm Duke right here. Norm, you shot 300 earlier today. Do you feel like on the same pair you're going to need to make some adjustments?
Well, they re-oiled and restripped, and they made a number of changes, so I'm going to have to adapt to it. I still look for some high scores for, the remainder of the afternoon, and it's going to take a bunch.
All right. Thank you, Norm. Mark, it's been since 1988 since we won a tournament. Is today?
Well, I hope so. The World Open, the last tournament last year, I had a chance to win. I left a few solid 9s. I've gone to 15-pound balls. I've still got some good hit with it, and I'm just going to go ahead and do my best.
All right, I've been watching all week. You look strong. Back to you, Chris.
Okay, thank you, Marshall and guys. 7th frame, leaving the 310. Gary Dickinson now trying to convert it on the left lane. Oh, this is a big match. I told you and our viewers that, and as you knew, Dickinson, 49th TV, 4th TV for Ron Winger. Both of their trouser leg pants are shaking. There's pressure. And why not? The winner goes on and has a chance for $25,000. You know, tonight on ABC, Chevy Chase is a city slicker who finds rural life a little too much in Funny Farm. Then, on the commish, special guest Gerald McRaney is a priest who's hiding a terrible secret. It's all tonight on ABC. Our commissioner in from Akron, Ohio, Mike Connor.
The biggest shot of the match coming up for Winger. Nobody has struck on this left-hand lane in the match so far. Winger leads by 2, could make it 12. 9th frame. Winger made the proper move that time. It's very subtle, but you have to get the ball in the high oil area around the 4th or 5th board. He just doesn't have quite enough power to pop the 10 out. Watch the 6, the second pin on the right-hand part of the screen. Just kind of zips around the 10, not enough impetus. A spare here, he'd lead by just 2 pins with 1 frame remaining. This type of shot is very subtle, favors Gary Dickinson if he can figure out what to do. Gary actually needs to move right on the approach and throw it left, a move that players don't make very often. It'll be difficult to make it in this crucial situation. It looks like he's moving left on the approach. Let's see what happens.
Seven, solid?
Solid 7, you're right, Chris. Threads the needle.
Goodness.
Seems a little bit undisturbed by that. With a spare here, he'll be trailing by 3 pins as we go to the 10th frame.
Pretty close match, Bill.
Well, it is, and here's what faces Dickinson. Neither player has struck on the left-hand lane. We've had 5 frames by Winger, 4 by Dickinson. Nobody has struck on the left-hand lane. Right now, Gary Dickinson needs a double to take the lead and put the pressure back on Winger. Here we go. Well, you don't become a Hall of Famer without having a Sunday punch, and Dickinson put it out there right that time. A little extra speed, a little extra loft, snap that 10-pin out, and for the first time in the match, he can take the lead if he strikes. However, he cannot shut out this man.
NBA Hall of Fame in 88, 92, the ABC.
Dickinson just looks at the ball to reset his eyes.
Years old.
He has the lead, can't shut out Winger. There's his mom. He'll look down at that ball again. Earl Anthony used to do this, and they just kind of rest their eyes just before they bring it up to the target so they get a good solid focus. Here he goes, a possible 184.
All right, 184. Look at that. Congratulations from the man he's bowling before Ron Winger has completed. Nelson, is that a good tip? You have the Choice Hotels tip a little bit later on, and this man, Ron Winger, was in one of your earlier tips this year.
Well, Ron did a tip on lift. He can use that right now. As far as the eyes are concerned, that's a personal matter.
Okay.
They like to keep him focused. This man has to focus on getting 2 strikes. He needs them both to win. Disappointed. Ron Winger sends it wide. Dickinson bails it out in the 10th.
All right, so Gary Dickinson later on will go against the winner of this tournament. Next up, Norm Duke and Mark Williams. AB Sports presentation for Gary Dickinson, now player of the year of the senior ranks, goes into the challenge later as he defeated Ron Winger 184 to 164. So he's the winner, like Mr. Oklahoma was the winner. I'm speaking about Bud Wilkinson. You know, my friend Bud, during his incomparable heyday, this is a picture of it, at the University of Oklahoma. And maybe you knew that Bud could sing like a meadowlark, especially the songs of Hawaii. Like his favorite, sung here by Elvis, Beyond the Reef. You know, beyond his coaching career was one great man with class and manners second to none. Did he have a sense of humor? Oh, ask his sons, super sons, All-American Jay, Dr. Pat and their mom Mary, 6 grandchildren, and his lovely wife Donna in St. Louis. You know, at ABC, I had the joy of doing more football games on television with Bud than he coached at OU. You know, Will Rogers and Broadway musical Oklahoma made this state famous, but Bud, I think, unified not only this state, but the entire Southwest with his football genius and his humanity. Do you know he was an advisor to several presidents? I personally think he could have been one himself. He was 77 years old, and from all of us, Bud, aloha.
Well, Chris, I know he's your great friend, and he always had the will to prepare. That was his motto. And here's 2 men that he would be proud of. Norm Duke, Mark Williams in the first semifinal match of the Choice Hotels Classic. Norm Duke had a 300 in the earlier going this morning.
Okay. That's the type of hit Bud Wilkinson loved. Norm Duke had that 300 in his one match this morning, earning his right to go against the number 2 seed, Mark Williams, at whom you're looking. All right. The winner of this game, of course, will meet the Player of the Year winner earlier this year, Walter A. Williams.
Style of Mark Williams, just everything under control. Shoulder high, comes straight through with that cocked wrist. Watch that wrist release the ball. Steady head, follow through towards target. He bowled very well yesterday morning, and that's the type of condition we have out here right now. Both these players, Chris, have seen this lane condition. This was the shot that showed up to us yesterday morning, where the 2 senior players didn't have the luxury of bowling on this condition, and they struggled in the first match. We won't see that here.
And of course, Norm Duke won the AC Delco Classic, our first of the year.
As we look at Norm Duke's style, the reason we won't see it is these players had the chance to adjust yesterday morning to this lane condition, and they've made the move. Duke with just a perfect style. Watch this arm swing inside out. Look at that. One of the top 5 players in the world today, and he wants to sit on top of the heap. He wants not only Mark Williams, but he wants a piece of Walter Ray in the final. Here we go.
.210.
Just got it a little too wide. The ball starts coming back and kind of rolls out. What he needs to do is get the ball to the left of the 2-pin, drive the 2 into the 10. A shot he's made a number of times this week, but he'd like to have it right now.
Norm Duke. It's an open in the 3rd frame. 14-pin lead by Mark Williams. No relation to our tournament leader, Walter Ray Williams. Does have a brother, Derek, who's out here on the tour.
Derek was the alternate, finished 25th.
There's 3 in a row. 6'1", 200 pounds, and 36 years old. Last victory was in 1988, the Tournament of Champions.
Mark's brother out 25th in the tournament. His dad, Wayne, has been here all week long. In fact, I was sitting right next to his dad as Mark bowled a perfect 300 game on Wednesday afternoon. A proud father hoping his son can take home a victory. The three players, Mark Williams, Norm Duke, Walter Ray Williams, three of the most versatile players we have on the PBA Tour. Watch the technique at the spare shooting here of Mark Williams. He'll kill that big hook, go straight across lane, very accurate.
Okay, leading by 23 pins here in our second match. This fountain that you're going to look at is in front of the Old North, which is a part of the campus of the University of Central Oklahoma in Edmond. The students come here from 40 states and 72 foreign countries. Special time to Eastern Central next Saturday.
Norm Duke up in the fourth frame, started with 2 strikes, left a 2-10 split, trails by 23.
Won the 1993 ABC Masters in Tulsa. Okay, Marshall Holman.
Walter, I was out in the 70s. I watched Earl Anthony bowl at his best. I watched Mark Roth bowl at his best. But enough about them. What about, what's been happening with you this week? You've just been doing great.
Well, I've had a good year, obviously, and I'm wanting to repeat like I did last year. So I got to go out there and be aggressive, and I was able to do that this week and hung in there and got the top spot.
All right. Well, I think you're ready to do it. I watched you practice, and good luck to you, buddy.
Thanks.
Hey, Marshall. Sometime we want to talk about you.
Yeah. Should have done that.
Here's a big shot for Norm Duke. Unexpected. He's playing around the third arrow, trying to play that big hook, sends it really wide into the moat. Whew. Actually, a pretty easy spare, as good a strike ball as he has. He just has to concentrate on make the spare, forget the gutter ball.
Yes, after 2 errors now, he's come back to strike. You professionals are something.
Well, big players like, say, Norm Duke are high-risk, high-reward players. If they're going to throw some bad shots like that, they just have to forget it and come back. He just did it. Mark Williams leads by 22. A solid 9. The pins are just not enough to resist today's bowling balls, Chris. A hit that should never leave any pins at all. The 5 pin is driven to the right of the 9.
Okay. Tomorrow on ABC Sports, Pizza Hut College Basketball presents a regional doubleheader. First, 1:30 Eastern, 10:30 a.m. Pacific. Number 2 Duke looks to avenge an earlier season upset at the hands of ACC rival Wake Forest, or Marquette hosts Cincinnati. Then Game 2, Arizona meets Cal in the Pac-10, or 8th-ranked Temple takes on number 13 Massachusetts. All tomorrow here on ABC. Fourth strike and 6 frames for Mark Williams, number 2 seed, earning the number 3 spot, Norman Duke. Karen, native of Oklahoma. Pretty.
Karen, a nurse at a local hospital here, hoping that her husband can cut the lead of Mark Williams down to 12 pins with a strike here in the 7th. Have to put that gutter ball out of your mind, Norm. Just send it out and give it room. He's standing way to the left. These lanes are unbelievably slick, and yet he's trying to play a shot in this area. What a shot. Tremendous power. Chris, time to editorialize. Bowling should not have trip 2 pins. They should not have messengers into the 10 pin, and they should not have solid 9s. Today's bowling balls are too strong for the bowling pins that the professionals are bowling against. Once again, he almost leaves a 7-9 split on as good a shot as he could possibly throw.
Okay, how do we equalize things? Well, I'll talk to you about that later. because we're going to have to go away for a moment for an important message. 22-pin lead by Williams. This is our tournament leader. Also player of the year, Walter Ray Williams Jr. Most dominant player, not in one form of competition, but two. Bowling and horseshoes, world champion.
Okay, Mark Williams, 7th frame, strike working, has a 22-pin lead over Norm Duke. Can extend that lead to 32 with one additional strike here in the 7th frame.
Leaving at 3.
Not enough speed. That's the shot that the senior players were playing out there in the 1st or 2nd board. The lane is very dry in that zone. The ball must go high. He's lucky to avoid the 310 baby split. You see the pin action here. Comes away with a simple spare. 10-pin, the last to fall.
See Derek and Dad, Wayne and Derek Williams, Beaumont, Texas.
All right, for Norm Duke, let's take him off the sheet. Possible 226. Mark Williams going at a 218 pace. 3 frames left. Semifinal game, Choice Hotel Classic. The winner will meet Walter Ray Williams Jr. for the title. Here we go.
And then the champion will meet Gary Dickinson for an additional $25,000 winner-take-all in the Choice Challenge.
It's must time for Norm Duke.
That was a strike in the 8th frame for Norm Duke, originally from the Fort Worth, Texas area. He's from Mount Pleasant.
Norm tricks the 2 into the 4. The 6 knocks out the 10. He stays alive. But to win the match, he absolutely must strike here. Trails by 22 pins, can cut the lead of Mark Williams down to 12. 9th frame, Williams knows the story. Here we go. Neither one of this duo will back off in the clutch. So here it comes down to the man who can perform in the 9th or 10th frames. Williams has to guard against getting an open, but he still must stay aggressive because in order to shut out Norm Duke, he has to throw more strikes. And that was not an aggressive shot. Babied it down there. Duke knows he's still alive. Here's that soft shot out to about the 2nd board. Ball breaks high. He avoided the 310 split in the 7th frame. Now he has the 3-6-10 here in the 9th.
Oh. Tomorrow, after America's Funniest Hour, Patrick Duffy and Suzanne Somers share with you the one moment most couples never have on tape, their proposals. Valentine's Day comes a day early on Will You Marry Me? Then, Ted Danson, Tom Selleck, and Steve Guttenberg star in 3 Men and a Little Lady. All tomorrow on ABC.
10th frame, semifinal, all even. Right now, Mark Williams with a spare and a strike will force Norm Duke to strike. We have a possibility of a tie match. First thing in front of Mark Williams is to make this 10-pin. Simple as this. Norm Duke has to do whatever Mark Williams does. If Mark Williams gets 9, Duke has to get 9 spare strike. It would be a tie. If Williams strikes, Duke has to strike to win. Pin count, very important. A strike forces Duke to strike.
So it's a 206.
This man who won the Masters, who prides himself on being one of the toughest action players in the world. He'll bowl anybody. I would be surprised if he doesn't throw this strike for the win. He needs it.
He cranked that one.
He put all he had on it, Chris.
Absolutely.
One tough Texan who has moved to Oklahoma. Look at those eyes. Six pins. Remember, he had one on the channel. He may just throw this down the middle. Uh-oh, look at this. Look at this. 191. He needs to get one of these pins to secure a victory. Still a smart move, Norm Duke. Still smart. Keep it out of the channel. Needs one pin. Guarantee you he'll stay behind the foul line. You'll see that same shot straight down the middle, aiming at the head pin. It's going to be Duke and Walter Ray.
All right. This week, the Choice Hotels Tip of the Week spotlights Hall of Famer Billy Hardwick.
ABC Sports presents a winning never gets old bowling tip. Brought to you by Quality, Comfort, Clarion, and Sleep Hotels.
Our guest today is bowling's first Triple Crown winner, Billy Hardwick. Billy won the U.S. Open, the PBA National, and the Tournament of Champions. And here's his famous style some 30 years ago. Bill, footwork was so important to you in your career. Tell us about it.
Well, it was more critical than the equipment because I've had arthritis all my life and had to be real careful that I didn't hurt myself in the approach. So what I did was I had a sole specially made for my sliding shoe. This is a Teflon sole which ensured that I would never stick. To make sure I didn't overslide, I took my plant shoe and I put a rubber sole on the bottom so I could plant before I'd go into that long slide. Now the long slide not only extended my approach 2 feet, but extended my career about 10 years.
All right, Bill, but these shoes look like the ones you won the 1969 U.S. Open with. It's time to buy a new pair, pal.
Well, both those are the ones, but I did polish them just for you.
They look okay then. Well, for today's senior player, you can extend your career and enjoy the game much more with custom-made shoes. For the right shoe or the traction foot, they have soles that will not slip. Keeps you very stable on the way to the line. And for the slide sole, there are a lot of things you can do. This particular sole has a buckskin sole on the front part of it and gives you a nice smooth slide. So take a tip from one of the great players of all time. Pay as much attention to your bowling shoes as you do to the rest of the equipment, and you'll enjoy the game more. And remember, winning never gets old.
Look for future ABC Sports winning never gets old bowling tips. Brought to you by Quality, Comfort, Clarion, and Sleep Out.
2 matches gone and 2 yet to be played in the Choice Hotels Classic and Challenge format. 206 for Mark Williams, the winner. Duke, 211, 7 strikes. Now goes into the championship match. And here are a couple of champions. Choice Hotels Vice President Tim Harwood and Regional Marketing Director Joe Neen. Sure glad to have them here. Super guys.
Solid week this week, Chris. 7-day tournament, 56 games, 204 men went to the starting gate, 222 average to make the top 24. Senior there in 6th place. Nice guy Tracy Lambert. Kelly Kaufman made more than 50% of his spares this week, so he got a check. Mr. Machine Dave Arnold. Bob Learn, Bob Benoit, Mr. 300. Billy Oates says happy birthday to his mom Mary.
Who's that fella?
John Handegard, the high finishing senior on the regular tour. Ron Williams, the fireball Phil Rigener, Randy Peterson, and Eugene McCune round out the top 24.
Okay, we're in Edmond today, a week from today, in the St. Louis area, Bo. Richmond Heights, Missouri, for the $180,000 Bud Light Hall of Fame Championship. The time is 2 o'clock Eastern, 1 St. Louis time. And then we'll move on to Peoria for the True Value Open. Landmark Lanes, again, 2 o'clock Eastern, and 1 Peoria time. Those are the next 2 stops. Now, here is the classic match. Handshake. Who wins this wins $38,000. The runner-up 20, but the winner then goes on against Gary Dickinson to win try to win a $25,000 winner-take-all. different.
Walter Ray won this tournament 1986-87, but Norm Duke, who wants to unseat Walter Ray as the #1 player of the year, he has made that known to everybody. This is a big match if he wants to do that.
And this is a head-to-head match against 2 winners this year. This is our 4th telecast. Norm Duke won the first AC Delco Classic, and then Walter Ray won in Las Vegas.
Norm Duke told me last year in Detroit, I beat Walter Ray when he was on top. And if I can get to Walter today, I have an edge if that's possible. He'll bowl 240, but I got to get to him first. He's thinking about me. Trust me, Walter Ray is tough, but Norm Duke leaves nothing in the bag. This is a big one.
Well, it's a double for Duke. And up is the man that won 7 titles last year, $296,000. He was 2nd 4 times, 3rd twice, 4th once, 5th once.
Walter Ray Williams Jr., our familiar profile, 5-step delivery. But what makes Walter so good? It's his ability to tuck his swing back in through this area and pull his left arm back as he releases a shot, squaring up his shoulder directly on target in the full extension. I think he does that better than anybody in the world today, plus his versatility. Both players have started with 2 strikes.
More importance on this match. We said 38 to the winner, but if you add the 25 should this Classic winner go on to beat Gary Dickinson, that'd be a total of 63 grand this afternoon.
Norm Duke, whose hobby is scouting and charting the stock market, he says his big tip is gambling stocks for 3 more years.
I'd bet on him maybe, huh?
No gamble on that shot. Chris, following up, we were talking about the bowling pins, and obviously these players have struck 3 times, but the players don't like to see the trip 2, the solid 9, or the scout 10. It may look good as you see this ball going right through the pins. However, the players would like to see maybe a ½ pound added to each pin. You could do that by putting, say, a PBA bullet or a piece of steel right through the base and make them a little heavier. Be worthwhile.
There is a 4-bagger for Norm Duke. Thus far, Williams is perfect. This guy is a member of a family located at the next guy, Oklahoma City Zoological Park. Over 2,000 specimens that make their home here. Two very talented pros. 7 frames. Perfect. 3 strikes for Walter Ray Williams, at whom you're looking. 4 for his opponent, Duke.
The first man to miss, the #1 computer ranked player, Walter Ray, going against #2 Norm Duke. Duke has 4 strikes. Walter starting with 3. Voted the best spare shooter on the tour. We figure he's going to make this automatic. Yeah, I can jinx him every time, partner. Walter Ray will miss that 1 out of 100. That's a bad time to do it, Walter. Switches to a harder ball. Hopefully it'll slide back, but it slides more than he expects, slides off in the channel, and I say more 10 pins missed this week than any other week I've been on tour. A lot has to do with the oiling pattern. The centers are dry. That outside edge is very oily.
Great, powerful comeback. Man of many comebacks and many championships, Marshall Holman.
With me is Gary Dickinson. Gary, you're going to have to pick up the pace a little bit after that match in the senior final, but I still think you can do it. I think you got that good line from the outside.
I think so, too. You know, I could keep the senior tradition. Gene Stuss was great last year, and hopefully I can keep it going to this week.
All right, his prediction is going to be 2 wins for the seniors. Back to you guys.
Okay. 4-pin.
Well, I think Gary Dickinson was just kind of giving him the decoy shot. As you see Norm Duke trying to take advantage of that open by Walter Ray. Just chews up the center of the pins. He tried to put too much on the ball. Breaks down the 410 cross lane.
Stuck a little bit at the line. Didn't like fact, and Dickinson continues to limber up off to our right after the interview with Marshall.
Norm slowing the action down to ask for a re-rack. One of the two he's allowed in every game he bowls. He was the #1 average in 1991 with 218. Old League that same year averaged 232. Right now he has a 22-pin lead over the best player in the world, Walter Ray Williams Jr. 6th frame. Ball drifts a little high. Watch the action. 3rd pin on the left-hand part of your screen. Head pin goes to the sideboard, knocks the 2 into the 4. 4 almost gets out the 9. Spare conversion by Duke here in the 6th would leave him with a 21-pin lead. Walter Ray taking the full approach, all 17 feet. Is more of a leg player. He's very strong physically, but he uses his legs more than most players. Whew, unusual pin action. He drives the 5-pin straight back. It hits the kickback, which is 29 inches from the end of the lane to the pin. Watch this action. When the ball disappears, those pins are driven back there 29 inches. That looks like the 3-pin that bounced out. If it had hit the 4-pin, it would have counted.
We're in our classic match for the championship. The winner to meet for a $25,000 winner-take-all challenge as we look at Walter Ray's fiancée, Paige Pennington.
Walter Ray trailing by 21. It's getting late. 7th frame.
Another 10.
The #1 player this year, no wins, 3 losses. Walter Ray, if he doesn't get on the stick here, is going to open the season 1994 with the tournament leader being 0 wins and 4 losses.
Okay, we're in the championship match. Advance to the 7th frame. Let's advance a little bit pictorially and look at the championship trophy. It is a James Earl Frazier replica. Into the trail. The original resides in the Cowboy Hall of Fame in nearby Oklahoma City. 10-pin, 8th frame. Norm marked with a 10-pin spare in the 7th frame. Leads by 20. Now an 8th frame shot by the player of the year, tournament leader here in Edmond, Oklahoma, Walter Ray Williams Jr.
Both these players seem a little bit queried by what's happening out there and confused. And the same thing is happening to them that we saw happen to the 2 senior players. They get the ball in that dry area to the right, the ball jumps high. They get it in the oil, and it slides by the head pin. And there's really not a whole lot you can do with it. You can try 1 or 2 things. Throw the big hook like Duke or throw the hard straight ball like Walter Ray.
Next Saturday here on ABC's Professional Bowlers Tour, we'll head to the home of the National Bowling Hall of Fame in Richmond Heights, Missouri, St. Louis area for the Bud Light Hall of Fame Championship at a special time. That was a special frame for Walter Ray Williams. A special time, 2 Eastern, 1 Central, 3 Pacific. Next Saturday and Saturday night, salute the champions in St. Louis. Big dinner.
With 2 frames left, championship match, Choice Hotel Classic title on the line. Duke leads by 21. He's going at a 226 pace. Walter Ray, possible 225.
.300 game this morning and earning his way into the 2 matches here. He defeated Mark Williams, previous 211 to 206 with 7 strikes, and Walter Ray is the tournament leader.
Right now, Norm Duke needs spare strike to be the Choice Hotel champions. Looks to the scoreboard. The strike would have shut out Walter Ray. He needs this spare and a strike to lock it up. Walter, who struck 3 times to win the Portland tournament on ABC. He also struck 3 times in the 10th to win Kennewick last year. Knows that if Duke gets anything less, he can do it.
That was a done deal and walked away from the line long before it got there. He knew it.
Scoreboard tells the story. We talk about the great strike balls that all these players have, but look at the 4th frame. Walter Ray Williams missed a 10-pin to put him in this situation where he has very little chance. Duke strikes, he wins. 9, possible tie. 8, he can possibly lose. Here we go.
Handshake. And there he is. A remarkable day, remarkable year thus far.
Well, Chris, Norm Duke gave that little look up here, and he told me before I left the building last night that he's going to win.
Duke. So Norm Duke wins today's Choice Classic, and in addition to his $38,000 first place prize, Choice Hotels is presenting him with the plane tickets, 2 of them, and a 1-week stay in London, England for 2 at the Comfort Inn, Kensington. This ABC Sports presentation of the Professional Bowlers Tour will continue after these messages and a word from our ABC. Let's do a Choice Hotels recap. Gary Dickinson, Senior Player of the Year, defeated Ron Winger 184 to 164. So he is waiting in the wings. Meanwhile, Norm Duke defeated Mark Williams 211 to 206. Norm got into that spot with a perfect 300 game earlier in the day in the roll-offs. Then Norm Duke went into the championship match against Walter Ray Williams Jr. and with fair amount of strikes, a 226 to 213 victory, $38,000, and earned the right to go against Gary Dickinson for winner-take-all $25,000 belt.
Well, Chris, it's a classic matchup. 2 players from Edmond. They know each other. They're good friends. They both bowling this bowling center. But if it was only for $4,000 or $5,000, I'd say, yeah, they'd be playing. But this is $25,000 match.
All of you viewers can be winners if you'll just send us your favorite bowling video, humorous, outstanding, extraordinary, on our Bowling Bits segment. Just send it to Bowling Videos, Ansonia Station, Post Office Box 1800, New York, New York 10023. And if we use your video, you'll receive ABC's video entitled The Perfect Game and a PBA sweatshirt. Send it to us. Here's a handshake. This is winner take all. Norm Duke has already won $38,000 to add to his $46,000 he's won already this year, and we're only in our 4th week. That's because he won the AC Delco Classic. 3, 6, 10.
This is the 3rd Choice Hotel Challenge. The first one, Amuleto Monicelli won 2 years ago. Last year, Gene Stuss evened it for the senior players. Now, as you look at the leader, right now he's changing some tape in his ball. You know, you take that little break. Look at how nervous he is, Chris. You can still see him shaking. And right now, he needs to put a little tape in the ball to keep that thumb hole feeling real good. Players on this use the holes as tight as they possibly can. This fellow really likes it tight.
Covered 3 pins. Doesn't look that comfortable when he gets at the line, but sticking maybe a little.
Well, only 123 pounds. He's also using a lot of effort to fire that ball down there, where Dickinson, with the 6 feet 4 inch ectomorphic body, doesn't have to use all that effort.
Okay.
He's skinny.
Okay. And he left a skinny pin. Didn't like it either.
Gary Dickinson, I wish I could just go out there and coach you right now. I saw this yesterday morning. He has a style very similar to us older players, where it's down and he needs to move his feet to the right and to throw the ball right at the 1-3 pocket. It'll set right there, and normally that won't happen, so he hasn't tried that shot, and he's going to need it to win this match.
Okay, that is, well, we have two spares here in our challenge match. Winner take all if you just joined us. Good news on one of our professional bowlers.
Mark Mosabi, who was a finalist at the Quaker State last week, was worried whether he had a kidney infection or cancer. We're happy to say it turned out to be a cyst on his kidney, and he'll be back at the Bud Light next week.
Okay. Bud Light, Richmond Heights, suburb of St. Louis. Starting time, different. 2 o'clock Eastern, 1 Central. Duke in his first match, a victory over Mark Williams, shot a 211 to Mark's 206. Then he defeated the tournament leader, Walter Ray Williams, 226 to 213. 6 strikes in that match, 7 in the Mark Williams victory. Rotation.
Once again, we saw Walter Ray miss this 10-pin to lose. It was the difference in the match with Norm Duke. Here it looks like he apparently has it, but the center of the lane is dry, and as you get to that outside edge, it's very slick. Norm Duke gets a terrific break as the ball uses up all 62 feet of the lane, just nips the side of the 10-pin. Now, if that ball had gone in the channel, even though it may have popped out and knocked the 10, it would have not counted, but he stayed on the lane.
In the audience, I wish you could have seen the body English, including Karen's. But Steve Parker, Brian Sikorsky, a lot of people were really doing the body English.
Dickinson has to come right through here and actually throw it up the lane like this. Don't try to circle it, and he'll have a great shot. Whether he realized that or not remains to be seen. That's it right there, Gary.
About time, he says.
Chris, playing a bowling lane is like a putt. You can't get the best results if you don't play the lane the proper way. If you try to fight the lane, it'll win every time. Dickinson made the real good move there, started the ball in the dry area on the first or second board, rammed it right up the fourth board, and what he could do is the same thing on this lane. Start the ball right up in this area, try to hit actually light, don't try to hit solid, and he can put himself in the driver's seat with a 21-pin lead. There you go, right there.
50-year-old Gary Dickinson of Edmond, Oklahoma, in a 21-pin lead. You know, bald eagles visit Edmonds Lake Arcadia every year from November till mid-March. This year, playing host to 4 adults and 1 immature bald eagle. Hooray. Duke in this challenge match. Covered a 10-pin for a spare in the 4th. Now you'll try to do the same here in the 5th frame, Bo.
3 10-pins in 5 frames. Duke is in trouble. He's trailing experienced Gary Dickinson by 22. Chris, I believe Dickinson has it figured out. Let's watch him again. He's standing more to the right, pointing the ball at the 1-3 pocket. This is the lane he doesn't want to miss. That's a good angle to watch. He's going to start right at the 1-3. Keep the speed up. On this lane, it'll hit solid. Keep it up. It'll hit light on the other lane. He could get a big lead. Short follow through that time. Arm swing went about shoulder high. He wasn't loose. Now you got to be free with this shot. See, it just barely went up. If he had followed through all the way, I think he'd have forced that ball solid in the pocket. Gets away, breaks down the 4-10 split, has a 21-pin lead.
Last year, Gary, as Senior Player of the Year, won $112,825. As we told you earlier, Walter Ray Williams, Jr., as the regular Tour Player of the Year, $296,000. But in this match alone, the winner take all. 25.
You can tell in his body movements that he has that feeling. He knows, look at the twinkle in his eyes. He feels he can win. Norm Duke, who's just banked $38,000 of Choice Hotels money in his treasury, has a little bit mystery in those eyes. And rightly so, because he's on the ropes. There's only one way to really make this split, the 2-4-8-10. And Norm Duke is armed with that shot. He'll probably try the super big hook. Needs to hook the ball, come way in from this angle, and get these pins over on the left-hand side there and drive these pins over into the 10. Very difficult shot. He's trying it.
Oh, great try. The man that had a perfect game at about 9:45 Oklahoma time this morning earned the right to get into the Choice Championship, which he won over Walter Ray Williams Jr. And he gets a check after a while for $38,000. But Dickinson is a formidable 50-year-old foe. Want to answer that question, Bill?
How am I doing?
Just
well,
look at the sheet, right?
You know, every shot makes somebody happy, Chris. And he needs to get over here and drive the 2 into the 10 like this. But it didn't make he or Karen, his wife, happy, but it made Gary Dickinson happy.
But there's solace. He wasn't shut out today. He was a $38,000 winner, but this match is not over yet, of course.
The senior can slap him around with a strike right here. You could just close the book on this one. A second senior victory in the Choice Hotel Challenge in 3 years.
We have a cute little sidebar here. Bo, as you know, finished 9th here. He's got some senior tour playing. Well, arriving here was a bouquet of flowers with 2 balloons. Congratulations, Dad. I'm Nikki and Katrina, his 2 daughters in St. Louis.
And my little boys, Nelson
Oh,
the
sure.
third and Brett.
Were they telling you something, Bo?
Well, they thought it was my last top 24. However, I'm going to bowl a few more tournaments this year, so I hope they're wrong, but thanks, kids. Right now, Dickinson in the driver's seat can take it out for $269. It's money in the bank, 25 grand.
Mom applauding. So is another native of Oklahoma. There's Mom. The other native, my friend Jack Thorpe, the Sac and Fox tribe, and his daughters, and Andy Overland. Other Oklahoma friends in the audience. And one of the few friends Norm has found on the bowling lanes this afternoon. Goodness sakes. There's Jack Thorpe, the chief.
And you can't let this last shot of Norm Duke's pass by without a comment. He moved to the Gary Dickinson shot. Watch this. You want to see a versatile #1 player, #1 leading money winner. Forget the big hook. Watch this. He's going to go straight down and in. There you go. And he shows you why he's #1 right now. He's got all the shots.
Only his 3rd strike in this challenge match, worth 25 to the winner.
Dickinson, a little victory lap. A luxury you're not often allowed on the PBA Tour. Come up in the 9th and 10th frames, match in hand, hometown people behind you, hometown pair of lanes, 25 grand in the bank.
Well, that'll bring Gary's money up to about 30,000 this far this year. PBA and the ABC Hall of Famer. Steve Parker is the Vice President of Marketing for Choice Hotels. Barry Smith and Bob Hazard, Senior VIPs and Chairman President, couldn't be here, but we hope they're enjoying their telecast. Bad weather back east. How about that? He has strung, Bo, 5.
Well, it's a matter of reading the lanes. A great story here, but a great lesson also, as Gary Dickinson showed how to adjust to a pair of lanes. Norm Duke also a little late adjusting to the pair of lanes, but it's Dickinson's day to carry the challenge. Norm Duke is the Choice Hotel Classic champion. Both winners.
What a challenge to accept. And this fella accepted quite a classic challenge, too, in the tournament victory over Walter Ray Williams. Okay. A big game for the Senior Tour champion of last year, 269, picks up 25. Winner take all. Okay, Mom.